In this video, I'm going to focus in on the writing settings that I find in the dashboard, and I've already gone ahead and selected that area here on the navigation, left-hand navigation for it. It's under the settings and then under writing itself. And so to start off with, we've got the size of the post box, and where we actually see this take place with any modifications we make to this is when we go to posts and I choose to write a new post for my blog. I have an option here to see or to set how high this area is, this text area for me to write with. It's 20 lines high at the moment. And so if you write a lot of stuff and you realize that you have to scroll a lot to see the top and the bottom, you may want to add more height to it by adding more lines to it. So I'm going to go back here to the settings and let's go back to writing. And then let's go ahead and talk about the formatting. Under the formatting, you've got the emoticons, and so basically the little smiley faces that we add all over the web. By default, mine has been selected to convert any of those types of punctuation for a smiley face to a graphic. And I went ahead and added one to a post so you can see what it looks like. Here at the end of the default post, I have that on there. And so you can see it's a graphical smiley face rather than the actual punctuation that we use. So that we can have that set up by default itself. Now the post category and the link category both are set up and there are no options for us to choose. They're just the defaults. Under the post category, what we do is when we write our posts on WordPress, I can pick a category for it to belong into, and I create my own categories. Depending on the blog you're writing, you're going to want to start putting your posts into different categories for organizational structure. So for instance, if this was a blog on home decor, we may want to have a category based on like bathroom remodels or kitchen remodels or something similar to that, and the article that we write or the post that we write will fall under some kind of category. It's really powerful to use categories because it will allow us, whenever we want to, somebody can click on a category and see all posts that are all related under that specific category. So we can also create links on our navigation bars within our web page to link to a specific category and show everything that's in that area. So by default, we have no other categories created other than this default thing called uncategorized. When we start writing posts, I'm going to come back to this area and make changes to it. Same thing for links. I have no other links created other than this blog rule. You can see that you've got links and you can add and create new links in their categories here. Later on in our lessons, we're going to go ahead and create links and show you how to work with the links in the blogs itself. The post format is going to rely heavily on the theme or the template that you use within your web page itself. Sometimes you won't see this and you have no options, other times you'll have this. You can see that I've got 3 options by default here: standard, aside, and gallery. When we start writing posts and we start adding a lot of content to that, we can come back and actually make changes to this and show you what the changes look like. To have basically no formatting at all and just kind of a typical blog, then you're going to want to choose the standard. Now press this is really interesting because if you like to surf the web and grab content from other people's web pages, then you may want to try using something like press this. What I'll need to do is in my browser, I needed to right click and choose favorites for the favorites bar so that I can see my favorites on my particular browser, and then I'm going to have to drag this up and drop it in my favorites bar. And you'll have to accept it because it is a script and your browser most likely won't just automatically allow that to happen. But you can see I've got press this. So let's just say I'm navigating the web somewhere and stumble upon a website. This is one I just Googled in and found on mountain bikes. And so let's just say I like this. Well, what I could do is I can click on this press this bookmark that I have or favorite that I have, and what it does is it fills in that information for you. It created a title for us to work with and automatically a link for us to link back to this website. So maybe I like this mountain bike blog or singletracks.com, or I just could put something like, I found this interesting, I found this this interesting. This will now be the title here for us to work with. But I've got a link here, and I could say something after this like check this out. And I can add any kind of content that I want. I've already got the blog set up. I did have a title that I changed. What I could do is hit publish, and it will publish this to my website. So I can go ahead, as soon as this is done with publish, I can close it. Let's go back to my website here that I'm working with on my blog and refresh it. And you will see that now that article has been updated, or that post has been put on my website. There it is. I found this interesting. And you got the link that went back to that website, and you got any of the text that we have here to work with. So I can go ahead and surf the web and find a lot of interesting things and add that to it. Let me go back to my writing settings. So that's the press this. That's something that's interesting to use. I typically don't use it. However, if you are one of those people that like to grab things from other web pages, then you may want to use that. Now, posting by email is an option that I don't use, and I don't really know a lot of people that use that. There are a couple ways that this would be beneficial if you are maybe in an area that doesn't have internet and you want to be able to put posts on there. Well, and you check your email from time to time by logging in, and maybe you're paying for your service. What you could do is send it to an email address that you have set up here, and then basically what will happen is it'll put that in there for a post. And so that is an option for you to work with, and under WordPress.com we'd have to make a couple changes to enable that. Let me show you some of the settings that you'd find under if you had it hosted somewhere else. You'll still find the size of your post box, you'll still find your formatting, you've got your post categories as well. And so this is from my Lecture Snippets website. You can see all the different categories that I have now here to choose from. Link, you still have basically your default link category. You've got the press this. For the email itself, if you had this hosted somewhere else, you could set up all your settings to do this email post via email. You can fill in all your information there. One thing that I do want to point out that's kind of an interesting thing is the update services. And so you can see here it says when you publish a new post, WordPress automatically notifies the following site update services. And so basically what happens is every time we have a new post, WordPress will send out what's called a ping here in this case, information that lets them know that you have new content on your website. And we'd be notifying by default this rpc.pingomatic.com. If I click on the update services link, you'll get a list here and some more information on this if you wanted to, but a list of all these different other sites that are out there, and I could easily just copy that information there, highlighting it all, right-clicking and choosing copy, and then coming back to my settings itself, which I'd have to hit back in this case here to go back to that, and then paste them in there. And they're supposed to be pasted on each individual line, and you can't see them all here, but now I'd have to scroll through them all to see that. But this would notify all these different areas out there on the web that you have a new post and new content on your website, and that they should update their information about your website. So that's just something that you can do to help get basically every time you do something new, to get that in the search engines as fast as possible with different areas. And so that's something you can add. I would recommend using that. I will tell you, with just the rpc.pingomatic.com, it usually doesn't take very long, and my new posts are on Google. If I were to do searches, it doesn't really take long at all. But if you wanted to try to speed up that process more, you could definitely add these sites to it and let them all know that on the web that you've got something new, and then search engines should be looking for some more of your newer content rather than the old content as well. So that's the writing settings that we'll find here within WordPress. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the reading settings that we have here within WordPress.